Of all the things that babies love to help them in their troubles, there's nothing in the world, they think, so nice as blowing bubbles. To dip the pipe among the suds, and then to gravely blow, to watch the lovely colors change as fast the bubbles grow. To throw them softly in the air and see them sail away is fun enough for girl or boy to fill the longest day. Sweet children of our tender love, may all life's bubbles be as bright with rosy tints of hope as these which now we see.
Hi, scholars. I'm Miss Gardea from Athenaeum Trivium West. Blowing bubbles can be a really fun outdoor activity. But have you ever wondered what the science is behind what makes bubbles work? Well, if you've ever been washing your hands with soap and water and accidentally created a few bubbles, you can probably guess that a bubble is formed when air gets trapped inside a soapy, watery layer. Now, water molecules are really sticky. They want to come together. But we need something to keep that water from immediately evaporating. That's where the soap comes in. The soap helps form a protective layer around our water. It sort of sandwiches in those molecules, allowing them to form one complete thin layer around the trapped air, almost like a balloon. Our bubble pops when all that water evaporates. That's why most bubble solutions contain some sort of added ingredient to extend the time it takes for the water to evaporate and lengthen the life of the bubble. We're about to go make some of our own bubble solution, and I want you to pay attention to what that added ingredient is that will help take up a little bit more time for our water to dry and make our bubbles last even longer.
All right, scholars, we're going to need some simple ingredients to make our bubble solution. We are going to start with 2 cups of warm water. Make sure it's warm. It doesn't need to be hot, but just a little bit warm to help us melt our secret added ingredient. Some dish soap. And time for that secret ingredient that's going to help keep our water from evaporating too quickly, sugar. So I'm going to work with the sugar first. And to my 2 cups of warm water, I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup of sugar. And I'm going to put that in first so that way I can make sure it's nice and dissolved in our water. We're just going to give it a little bit of a stir. You'll be able to tell that it's nicely combined when you don't see a lot of the individual granules of the sugar anymore, when it just looks like one complete solution. Mine looks like it's just about all incorporated. Give it just a little bit more of a stir. And then it is time for our dish soap. Again, I'm going to put a 1/4 cup in. And I'm going to stir up our solution again. I'm going to be careful when I'm stirring this. I don't want to stir it so forcefully that the soap starts to froth up a lot on the top of our bubble solution. We just want to make sure that all the ingredients are sort of nicely combined together and all incorporated. That looks pretty good. I think all my ingredients are all mixed together nicely. Now, this is the hard part. We're going to have to let our bubble solution rest for a little bit. For best results, go ahead and let it sit overnight. But if you can't wait that long, at least try to give it just a little bit of time to rest. So I'm going to set the bubble ingredients aside for now, and we can spend a little bit of time on our bubble wands while we wait. For our bubble wands, we're gonna have to get a little bit creative. Look around your house and think about what things you might be able to use to make a bubble wand. Here's some things I found when I looked around mine. Here's my first idea. I have a pipe cleaner and a pencil. And I'm thinking that I can twist this pipe cleaner into a bubble wand. So I'm going to make a circle and twist our pipe cleaner. Just like that. How there's those little teeth on the inside of a bubble wand, I'm thinking that the fuzz on this pipe cleaner might work similarly. And then I can wrap it around a pencil to use in my bubble solution. There we go, a bubble wand. If you don't have a pipe cleaner, one thing I also had was some craft wire. But if you're going to want to use craft wire, then you definitely need to ask a grown-up because the end can be a little bit sharp, and you're going to need some pliers to cut off your piece of wire, but then you can bend it the same way we did the pipe cleaner. But if you have craft wire and a grown-up available to help you, you can ask your grown-up to cut off a little piece of that craft wire. And then do the same thing just like we did with our pencil and our pipe cleaner bubble wand. Can form it into a circle. It's kind of a small one. Then I could even stick that wire into the eraser of my pencil to make another bubble wand. This next wand is going to be able to make giant bubbles. For it, you'll need a couple of sticks. I happen to have craft sticks at my house, but if you don't, you can just use regular old sticks from your backyard, or even a pair of pencils, sort of like we used for the first wand. And then also a length of string or yarn. And if you don't have either of those things, even a pair of old shoelaces would work for this part. So what you're going to do is take your string or yarn and you're going to cut it into 2 pieces. And you want one to be slightly bigger than the other. So I'm going to find about the halfway mark. And then just go a little ways in from there. Be sure to ask your parents that it's okay to use scissors first. And then we are going to tie our shorter length of string onto our sticks or pencils or whatever we're using. If you don't know how to tie a knot, you can ask a grown-up to help you. Just like that. All right, I have one side done. Now I'm going to tie it to my other stick. Just like that. All right, this is what we have now. Got my yarn tied on to the ends of my 2 sticks. Now, with this longer piece of yarn, I'm going to come in and I'm going to tie it not to the stick itself, but around the piece of yarn that's strung between the 2 sticks. So that way we have a complete circle to form our bubble within. I'm going to go ahead and tie that on. And if it gets a little far away from you, you can just slide it back up your piece of yarn if you need to. Like that. So you see how it is tied to the other piece of yarn and not to the stick. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. If you have a little bit of extra, you can just ask a grown-up to help you snip it off with some scissors. All right, and this is what you will use to make your giant bubbles. You have the 2 sticks and your 2 things of string in between them.
Now I've set my bubble solution in this jar to rest, and I'm going to let it sit overnight. So I will see you tomorrow to test out our bubbles. Thanks for blowing bubbles with us today, scholars. We hope to see you next time on Virtual Athenaeum. Bye!